Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 20th. National Cheese Lovers Day. Carly, is that you? For those of you that don't know, my friend Carly loves cheese. Specifically, she likes all cheese, but specifically, she likes shredded cheese. Like, she likes to take it out of the bowl, and she likes to put it in her little mitt, and then that's how she eats it. I'm not saying that would have talked me out of being her friend. I'm just saying these are things I wish I would have known before I locked in this friendship. These are just facts I wish would have been presented to me, is all. And now, the news. Before the news, two things. First, I'm back, baby! I'm sorry I had a family emergency. Well, first, I'm sorry there was a family emergency, and also, I'm sorry that I was gone because there was a family emergency. If you're new here, if I'm gonna be out, I do at least like to give a heads up, but life, everything is okay now, but, life happens. Also, there is a special episode in the feed as well. It's not about the family emergency. That would be too much for this show. There is a special episode in the feed. If you're a subscriber, it will automatically pop up. If you're not a subscriber, this is a very awkward moment for both of us. This show is free. This is a weird way to find out. The special episode is about a year of Trump. Not the things that he has done, don't worry, we're not gonna do that. It's looking back over the year and all the ways that we have been able to bend and not break. Not in like Dashboard Confessional. Now I wanna go listen to that. Oh no, what a terrible punishment. Oh no, stupid. And now for real, catching us up on the last 17 years of news that took place in 1 week, the news. Starting, of course, in Minneapolis. I say, of course, like, honestly, any story could have been, of course, and we would have been like, yes, of course, that is the only place because there is so much news. Starting, of course, in Minneapolis. When I last reported on Minneapolis, this is how long ago it was, a new video had just come out showing Renee Good telling her murderer, quote, "I'm not mad at you," as she tried to drive away before he stepped from behind her car to move in front of her, and then switched his cell phone from his right hand to his left hand, so his right hand would be available to shoot her point blank in the face. A lot has happened since then. Following that, the DOJ announced that, after they said that they would work with the state, they would actually never mind not be investigating the murder. Instead, Good's wife, Becca Good, is being investigated to determine whether she was impeding a federal officer before he murdered her wife in front of her. She's now, I guess, somehow guilty. She's also being investigated for any connections she might have with groups in Minneapolis that will maybe make her the terrorist somehow. You got, the mental gymnastics. If they had mentals that could do gymnastics, that's what they would be doing to get to the crime that Becca Good is alleged to have done that they gotta investigate. That's what's happening. Also in Minneapolis, a Venezuelan man has been shot in the leg by an ICE agent. DHS says it wasn't self-defense, but videos of the incident show that the man was in a car that crashed, and when he attempted to run away from ICE agents, they shot him. So, not in self-defense. Sounds like all this started with a targeted traffic stop, one of the many new developments in Minneapolis. There are reports also of ICE agents going door to door. You'll recall this idea of ICE agents going door to door as something the Nazis would do. They're doing these traffic stops. They go to get lunch, and then whilst they're at lunch, they go out and they just decide they're going to pick up people while they're there. They go out for Mexican food, and then they grab the cook or server afterward. They go out, you know what? No Mexican food for these people. No food you can have Applebee's. And you don't even get the good food there. If you're not aware, if you're not watching this on YouTube, what you're not seeing is a lot of cuts are happening. I'm cutting a lot of stuff out here. Just so many things are being thought and then said off script, and then I'm cutting it out. They're stopping people on the way back to their cars after dropping their kids off at school. And when the parents are getting picked up by these ICE agents, they are screaming their full names, hoping that someone at the school can hear them so that their kids don't go home to an empty house. I just want you to picture that. Picture that moment. Minnesota's Governor Walz and Minneapolis's Mayor Fry are being investigated, both of them, with the DOJ alleging that they have impeded with federal immigration agents. Last week, Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act before backing off of his message the following day, saying that he would do it if needed, but he felt like there was no reason right now, adding, "I like my insurrections like I like my dad's love, just a little out of reach at all times." That joke makes no sense whatsoever. I'm doing what I can here. It's really bad here. It's really bad here. In addition to that, there are about 1,500 soldiers assigned to 2 infantry battalions with the Army's 11th Airborne Division on standby and ready to deploy should Trump hit the ready, set, go button when it comes to the Insurrection Act. Scary. Not unscary. Not like, well, I'll sleep well tonight, and without anything in my system. As a reminder, here in Los Angeles, we had the Marines here because Trump was very worried about our protests. It was a very different situation, and in no way am I trying to minimize the threat that is happening in Minneapolis. I'm only reminding you that this happened in case you forgot. We had the Marines here, and then the poor Marines were bored because they had nothing to do. So best case scenario, these soldiers don't get deployed. That's the best case scenario. But the second best case scenario is they are deployed and then they're bored because it is very chill. Listen, I know I'm running through it all quickly and that sucks. It's not ideal, but it's just there's a lot to run through. This is a situation that changes consistently and also doesn't. They are using Minneapolis as a testing ground, which is wild. Imagine using Minneapolis, just Minnesota in general, imagine using Minnesota as a testing ground. Do you understand that the average winter temperature in Minneapolis, which was already scientifically described as burr, to around -20 degrees? That's who this dumb administration thinks they can outlast. Donald Trump, well known for his bravery. Kristi Noem, she's for sure someone that can outlast these people who see -20-degree temperatures and think like, you know what I'm gonna do? Put some brats on the grill for the football game. She's not brave. She cannot outlast these people. Morons all around. But they're going to try. They are going to try and outlast them. So you better believe Minneapolis is going to stick it out. But they're going to need all of us. I put links to places like Unidos, Minneapolis, the National Lawyers Guild, Minneapolis, Communities United Against Police Brutality, and the Minneapolis branch of the ACLU, all in show notes. They are going to stick together, and we are going to stick with them. And what's that old saying? Why only do chaos at home when you can do it internationally as well? That's an old saying, right? Despite my taking a week off, Trump is still on his Greenland grind. Kind of thought he'd cool it while I was gone, but he clearly doesn't care about me and my emotional trials. This is so embarrassing, but apparently over the weekend, he sent Norway's prime minister a text saying, quote, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Quote, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America," end quote. Okay. He also said, quote, "There are no written documents," end quote, "that say that Greenland is part of Denmark's kingdom." There are so many. Just because you haven't read it doesn't make it true. You're not a well-read man. You're not smart. You not knowing something does not mean it's not true. You not knowing something makes it more possible that it is true. In fact, there are many, including literally from America, from us. In 1916, when I was but a kindergartner, and the American Foreign Minister Robert Lansing signed the Declaration on behalf of America in support of Denmark's claim to sovereignty over Greenland. Also, you dunce, the Nobel Peace Prize comes from an independent Nobel committee, not the Norwegian government. And why would he know that? He thinks it's the Nobel Peace Prize, not the Nobel. So what does he even care? And imagine you saying, you didn't give me a peace prize, so I'm going to now start a war. He is, why? Oh my God, why would they give you a peace prize? You are a sexual assaulting insurrectionist white supremacist. Oh, Kim, good thing only like 5 people listen to this show when it's really popular. You make $10 million a year, or I walk. You won't be able to call him a white supremacist. Yeah, right. $10 million a year, and it'll be the first thing I say. If he didn't want to be called a white supremacist, he probably shouldn't be doing white Christian nationalist, white supremacist stuff. You know what I mean? Anyway, what's the next story? I think it was good that I took a week off to be with my family, and also it didn't do anything for me upstairs, you know? Oh, cool. It says the next story here is that the president threatened the Fed. Last week, none of this is funny. How dare you laugh? We're just trying to get through it. Last week, the Trump administration announced that it was opening an investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Now, they claim this is because this has been kind of a long time coming. If you haven't been keeping up, I do understand. There's so much to keep up on. They claim that the Federal Reserve has been renovating 2 buildings. That's true. They don't claim it. They have been renovating 2 buildings, and they claim that the Federal Reserve has gone over budget and has tried to do like sneaky fake things with the renovation. You know, like tear down the East Wing to make a ballroom. Stuff like that. That's not what they're claiming. That's what Trump is doing. What they're saying this suit is they've tried to bring in Powell, and he has ignored repeated claims to discuss the overage of the renovation. What this actually is because Jerome Powell has refused to lower interest rates despite repeated pressure from Trump. As a reminder, the Fed is an independent body, and that's vital so that we can't have silliness like, say, the president manipulating the economy so that it looks better while he's trying to run for his 17th term. So that is what is actually going on. We will see what comes of this. For what it's worth, Powell released a video after we learned that the Fed had received these subpoenas to say basically, bring it on again, bring it on all or nothing. If you're mom, if you don't know, those are 3 different versions of a movie called Bring It On, a scene of which, from the original Bring It On, was filmed in Oceanside, California, where I'm from. And in Spain, hang on, actually, because I think my energy is not going to translate well for this final story, because all these stories are very serious, but this one, just, you'll see in a second. So we're going to do one more whoosh. In Spain, at least 39 people have died after a high-speed train went off the rails on Sunday, causing it to crash into another train. Officials believe an investigation into a crash like this could take at least a month. As of this recording, rescue efforts are still underway. And that's it. That's the news. I do want to talk about the latest in Venezuela as well as Iran, but I think both of those stories need more time than just a quick also this. So I'm going to cover those tomorrow. I'm proud of cheese. Cheese makes almost everything better. Almost. But more than cheese, because you are the only thing that cheese can't make better. Can't improve upon perfection. I'm proud of you.